Hi guys, John, no name, with sort of a bike, well, an installation thing, and yeah, I've got a lot of time on my hands being that I've fractured my wrist, doing a low side on this, scratched all that bit up. That was already come off. It was all scratched to shit here, scratched all this, grinded the bars, bent the handlebars there. It's all scratched to shit up here, and I'm missing an indicator now, which means I've got loads of time on my hands, or hand, to fix. Which actually, I'm going to be installing this, which turned up today, which was a little cheap, and it comes in this really nice box. It's a little cheap USB, if it'll focus. Come on, there we go. Little cheap USB device with a little light on it to see if it's powered up. And it's got this bracket. Now initially, when I did my measurements for this, I thought I'll sit it in here. So you have the USB sticking out here, but it doesn't quite fit. If I had one of those bubble screens on it, it'd slide straight down there, because I was going to mount it to that little bit of plastic there. So then I thought, oh, there's no other way I can put this on. And then I had a look at this bolt here. And I did some measurements with my calipers, and the inside diameter of this bolt is just bigger than the width, or the outside diameter of that bolt. And this fits perfectly down to the side there. I don't know how well this is going to come up. It fits perfectly over that bolt and will sit over there, up against the clocks. So it'll sit about there with its cover facing in, which is absolutely perfect. It looks brilliant. I mean, it takes up this extra room here. I'm not 100% sure how you'd mount this to other bikes, other than WR. I guess sports bikes, you have loads of headroom around here. You can mount it to anything really. But it's such a simple installation, just positive, negative to your 12-volt battery. Which, I mean, if you don't have to do that, then wow, it's really easy. It's color coded. But yeah, the installation is going to be really easy. If you own a WR, this is probably the best way you can do this. If you have a bubble screen, put it there if you want to. Put it there, it's easier. This involves no drilling, no getting bolts and washers and so on, whereas that one does. But yeah, I'm going to show you the installation process now. Sorry if my voice sounds horrible. I'm bored out of my nut, and I'm high on meds at the moment for my wrist. Yeah, so you'll need to take that bolt out, possibly this front panel, this side panel, and your battery front cover, your seat, and you might need to take your fuel tank off, depending on where you're going to route the cables. It might end up following the cables down from here, down and straight into the side of that, which, if I can make it do that, it'd be easy, stupidly easy. I would recommend getting yourself some heat shrink wrap, or whatever this stuff's called. I got this for like £5, I think, full set. It just helps out with all your connections and stuff like that, especially when you can have it open, the handlebars. I will be wrapping it in this, and then wrapping another layer of electrical tape over that, just to cover it up. Just to make sure it doesn't get damaged, doesn't get in the way. And I'm going to end up zip tying it to existing cable looms, just so that it keeps it out of the way where it's already working. Right, first thing, this little bolt here, which is a 4mm, I think is it 4? No, I don't know what the measurement is. It's 4.0. I can't remember what the measurement is. I'm still out of my head. Yeah, but get that Allen key out. I do have full set of these ones with a ratchet and everything, but this is one-handed. I can't twist my other wrist. So bear in mind, there's a little tiny bit of rubber type washer behind there that sits. I don't know how well this is going to show up. Little tiny bit of rubber that sits behind the bolt. So when tightening this up, try not to do it too tight. Tight enough that you don't drop it. Tight enough that it holds the USB in place. which is quite a sturdy design. But yeah, not too tight that you crush the rubber or damage the rubber seal in any way. Because of that, you've got to buy that. And I don't think they sell them singly. I think you have to buy like the whole kit, and then it works out a bit more money than that. Always get yourself a desk tidy, or even the case that comes with. Link to this will be in the description for Amazon link for the USB. Always get yourself a desk tidy. Keep your bolts in there so you don't lose them, because you don't want to lose the bolts of the Yamaha bikes. Right, that should come free there. I'm going to continue taking apart this. There will be a bolt around this side, but the same type of bolt, and I'm pretty sure it's either this bolt or there's a bolt underneath it. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's just an adjustment bolt, but I'll get back to you then. Alright, it turns out it was just a bolt here and a bolt there, and then it sits on those two little pegs, one there and there's one here this side. Now be very careful about these wires, don't try and overstretch them or anything. This is about how far out you want to leave this, unless you really, it gets in the way. Take this off and it will unclip your whole light. Right, I would suggest this plastic panel here, running the USB from here, which is where it's going to be sitting there, cables down around, start zip tie to possibly these connectors, because they run straight down there and continue the wiring them. So I'll get back to you once I've mounted the USB in place temporarily. Alright, now that's loosely fitted on there with the bolt that normally connects here. Now that is absolutely flat up against there, and it's leaning quite a slight bit. But bear in mind you're going to have this much gap sticking out of here. You might have to bend this part here out slightly to allow this to sit straight. If it wants to focus. There we go. Or you might need to want to bend this slightly right here. Try not to do it on these two bits because they're weaker than here. Should bear of needlepoint pliers or standard pliers and just bend it slightly up, allowing it to sit and seat properly. But this is temporary. The cables will go down and down the side of this metal bit here, in which you can feed them down there, and they will pop out around the back of here down your frame towards your battery. Now there's these little wire tags, which are an absolute pain in the arse. Oh, them ones weren't so much, but yeah, you can see only loosely fitted at the moment. You just chuck them away. Alright, you have a reasonable amount. I'll say about half a metre, about 50 centimetres worth of cable there, so it's enough. It's enough to run down there, around the back into the battery. Right, I'm going to put heat shrink wrap under here, and I'm going to start cable tying there and down the back of here. I'll get back to you once I've got this side panel off and the battery out. Right, I've got the side cover off, the seat off, that cover and everything, because I had all these LEDs attached. Battery, now the two terminals. Obviously red one, follow your red to your positive, black one go to your negative or neutral. Now I've run them down the side of the stem. I'm going to connect them to this wire here, and then to the side of this bit of plastic here, and they run straight in around the back, so they're not intrusive. Out of the way. Alright, connect up to the terminals on battery, they just go straight through the bolts, straight through. It's pretty simple. It goes up here along the top tip with these. Tape the cable next to the cables that go to the terminals. It makes it a hell of a lot easier taking the battery off and on again, because then they're always next to each other. Wires run up there, and if it's correctly wired up, you should see a little blue light and it should power on your device. Now, time to put this back together. Also, when wiring it in, take into account you need enough slack to be able to turn your handlebars fully this way without creating any tension there. Right, and if it's all working properly, little blue light there, it should tuck away quite nicely in there, absolutely non-intrusive, and actually charging the phone off of it at the moment. The cap should just pop straight over there. But I'm not putting it on at the moment. Actually, no, I will. If I can get the cap on. The cap's really stiff, there we go. And then look, non-intrusive whatsoever, just sort of sits there, mounted quite sturdily on, sturdy, I don't know. Bracket sits up there. That's the end product, finished. And I mean, wow, these handlebars are really bent. Jesus, right, right, next handlebars.